and he see his body, the fire is getting closer and closer to him, and he has no idea whether he should do something, he should not do something, and he stood there and just watching the fire getting closer and closer to him.
I was a village, and the forest was very important to the villagers. When they saw this bonfire, they rallied together, shouted at each other, got buckets of water, and rushed to put out the fire.
Fire, part of it, and they saw this baby giant. It looked like a baby, but it was a giant baby, so it was bigger than them. And so they didn't know what to do.
So they were scared, and as they picked up their swords, a voice said, "Stop!"
A child. It was the only little child left in the village, because a cruel king who had wanted to destroy this village had killed all their babies. That was a promise. And this was the one child that had been hidden and somehow managed to grow. So that child said, "Stop! He's just a baby." And he went up to the giant and gently touched the giant.
The giant was so touched. He started to cry big, fat, giant tears, and it flowed down his face and onto the ground around him, and he started to put out the fire that he had started.
The lands flooded, and the baby giant was so sad because he still wanted to go up back to earth and
Back to the sky.
back to the sky. And so the baby boy said, "Oh, you know, maybe if you build a ship, then on the ship you can sail." And so he started to build
A flying ship.
a ship, and once he'd built it, the ship started to fly, and he went back down to the sky, up to the sky. And then from the clouds, he asked the sun, he said, "Sun, come out and dry out all the rain, for the child below has helped me come home."
We're speaking about a camel in the desert. Just tell the story. Yeah, okay, tell the story. Once upon a time, there was a camel. He was a very sturdy, old camel. And the camel was going across the desert carrying a group of families, 2 children and the parents. They were all on that one camel. And it went on and on through the desert, and along with the families was also water and food. So the camel was carrying this entire load on its back.
One day, the water empty, no more water, right? So what will happen?
Well, actually, the water ran out because they were walking for so long. The man was trying to find the way to the next point of the next water point, and the camel just followed. And the camel was getting a bit worried because the water bottles were all getting empty, and his water in his little humps were also drying up, and so he didn't want to drink the water that was given to him because he was afraid that the water would not be enough for them. And so he just continued walking with them, but the poor camel was getting very anxious. He could see that no water was coming up.
And the camel was thinking to himself, "What can I do? I can't even help these people. And all the water bottles, they're all empty. And I know the family, without water, they will die." And then a group of travelers came along to help to lead them to the water. But they too couldn't find. And then when night came, lo and behold, they saw the North Star.
And the star is up in the sky, beautiful. Next.
So the North Star descended on the desert and spoke to the camel. Camel, do you recognize me? I'm the North Star that has been guiding you. But now I need you to listen to your heart. And you will find a way to the oasis in the desert. Yeah. So the camel listened, he calmed down, he understood that he knew the way, but he just had to believe. So the next morning, with renewed confidence, he took the family and he found a way at sunset when they have walked for an entire day. So this is a story about resilience that we will be sharing. Hope you like it.
Yeah.
Okay, in a land long, long ago, there gathered a group of storytellers, very distinguished, wise storytellers who had come from far and wide, and they gathered around a fire, and it was already late into the night, and they had a task to come up with a very interesting, strong story.
You would have thought it would have been easy because these were very talented storytellers. But no, it was not. Everybody had their own personality and issues. One of them was sleeping, can you believe? Not paying attention at all, not contributing. The other could not hear the others. The other was so inside his head that he wasn't listening to what anybody was saying. So they all started talking together and over each other. Nobody was listening to what anybody was saying. It was not going well.
Finally, the so-called leader of the group decided to take control. Quiet everyone. They were very happy to be quiet. And then he said, if we don't come up with this story, we are in trouble. Who's going to trust us as storytellers?
And that really made everybody sit up and think. But it wasn't getting anywhere. Because the person who couldn't hear still couldn't hear, the person who couldn't see still couldn't see, and the person who was worried was still worried and thinking about something else.
So I'm thinking what is coming.
To provide its gifts.
And then something came up from the fire. It seems to give everyone an insight into everyone's mind. And the anxiety seems to go away when they all feel the warmth that comes up from the fire. And suddenly someone came with a hot pot of chocolate for everyone.
And that someone who was carrying jugs and jugs of big and small bottles of chocolate, cocoa, started passing to each and everyone. And as they took sips from the cups or from jugs or from jars, whichever size they need, they realized something. That, hey, actually, it wasn't so difficult after all to create stories that heal. Because all they need is just sips of cocoa and maybe something was stuck in their mind.
Yes.
So they decided to drink more.
And the more they drank, the more comforted they felt. And it warmed their heart from within. And just before the person who had brought the pot of cocoa left, she gave them a gift, a stack of cards. Not too sure what those cards were, but she not only left a stack of cards, she left a way for them to heal themselves from within, so that from there they can start telling the story again.
Once upon a time, there was a young chicken, and she loved. The only thing that she ever wanted to be was a mother. And every day she would lay an egg. And even when she went about foraging, when she left her nest for a while to go out and look for food, she even found a strange egg. And she was thinking, oh, that poor little egg. Oh, and it's all so lonely. Come, join my nest. So she rolled that strange egg. It was kind of speckled and brown, not so different from her nice pale beige eggs. But never mind, it's an egg. I want to be your mother. I want to be. So she rolled that egg back to her nest and sat on her nest. And after several weeks, all the little birds started hatching. And she had a fluffy nest of fluffy yellow birds and one strange little fella. But never mind, it's a little cute little baby bird. It's my child.
Over time, the little chicks grew up, the little birdlings grew up, and the little strange looking birdling was like, why do all my siblings look so different from me? But it's okay, they're nice, I'm gonna play with them. But as he grew older and older, he started to realize this difference. His looks is different, his wings are different, even his little feet looks different. And he started to wonder, why am I different? Am I so strange?
And this very good mother sends all her little chicks to the best school in the entire land. And in order to get to that school, all the little chicks need to learn how to cross the road. And there were busy cars going all directions, but because the chicks have all been so well trained to wait for the traffic light to turn green, all the chicks would be able to go across. But the little odd birdling, that's what you call her, was afraid, and she couldn't read the lights because actually she was a little bit colorblind, and also she just doesn't like the bright daylight, and it just confuses her so much that she's always standing on this side of the road and she never makes it across. And all the other chicks will laugh at her and say, that's why you never get to school, that's why you never get to learn anything, that's why you can't do math models. And so the little birdling was so sad and so afraid and so lonely.
The lonely bird started thinking, what will I do? I'm not able to cross the road and I need to get here. So it started talking to its mother. And it said, Mother, I am not able to cross this road. How do I do it? Nobody is helping me out. They all sat down at the dining table, eating their food. The mother said, tomorrow I want you to form a train. Link to each other, then start crossing the road. Help each other. That's how you get the other side of the road. Then the birds started getting together, they started going and started crossing the road. They started helping each other. The next day, the other chickens were not able to do their task. That time the bird, which was different, started helping. So they started learn to help each other in their own house. Then when they're outside at school, they started looking out for each other, that we are able to achieve something together. Why don't we do it outside also?
Sometimes this little bird, who is a bit different, would be troubled still because of his difference. And she was thinking like, maybe I don't feel so welcome here, even if, And then so she said, sometimes in the morning I feel sleepy. That's why I can't focus at school. I feel sleepy. And at night, that particular night, he was wide awake. He was wide awake, and it was the first time at night that He was really, really wide awake. And he noticed there's a different bird up in the tree. And during the day, he noticed that this bird is always sleeping. This bird is always sleeping. But today, the first time that he's awake at night, okay, oh, his bird is also awake. This bird is also awake. And so, this little birdie went to see this new adult bird that he saw on top of the tree.
And this bird went towards the tree and saw this older, wiser looking bird. And then, excuse me. Yes, I think I'm different. Yes, you are, my dear little bird. You, my friend, are an owl. And you are special. And you are special in your own way. Oh, that's why. But your family loves you very much. So keep with them if you want to, but I will be here to help you anytime. So now, go be yourself, fly free to where you want to be. But always know there are people who love you and will take care of you. And don't ever, ever fear being you. The end.